Leading with Gratitude Live. I'm your host, Chester Elton, the apostle of appreciation, coming to you from the Gratitude Epicenter of the Universe, Summit, New Jersey. Listen, welcome everybody to the show. You know, you are fast making us the #1 LinkedIn Live show on gratitude on the planet. So we really thank you for your time. You know, we say give us 30 minutes and we'll give you 30 minutes of great information, great inspiration, and a roadmap to a life of gratitude at work and in your personal life. We really do love our community. Hey, listen, I am excited to introduce to you a longtime friend of mine and tell you a little bit about him. His name is John Baldoni. He is so great. Let me tell you a little bit about his story. He's globally recognized as a leader and educator and a master certified corporate executive coach. John Baldoni teaches a leverage purpose to reach their full potential. A veteran resource to the industry, John speaks to corporate, professional, and military audiences around the world, sharing stories and lessons that are practical and inspirational. In every engagement, attendees walk away with John's personal leadership model, his best strategy for modeling it to others, and the 3 most doable habits for Monday morning. He is a longtime friend of mine. He is a wonderful guy. Welcome to the show, John Baldoni. We are delighted to have you here with our LinkedIn Live Leading with Gratitude show. John, welcome to the show.
Chester, what a joy to be on with you. And thank you very much for bringing me on board. This will be fun.
Yeah, you know, we stream on Facebook and YouTube and all those great places. Of course, we live on LinkedIn. You know, it's really interesting. Put your a name and where you're tuning in from in the bottom there. We've got Cliff Wilson already tuning in from Houston, Texas. We get lots of international people that tune into the show, and they're all waiting to get their dose of Mr. Baldoni. Well, listen, John, I know you from, you know, the 100 Coaches group that Marshall Goldsmith, you know, created. I know you from your wonderful books, Grace, which is one of my wonderful, A Leader's Guide to a Better Us, which I just love. And then your new book, Grace Notes, this little just compilation of wonderful ideas. So talk to me a little bit about Grace Notes, your latest work. How did that come about and what was the inspiration behind it?
Grace Notes came about as a sort of as a companion to the Grace book, which came out in May of 2019. And Grace Notes focuses, I call it, the subtitle is Leading in an Upside Down World. And boy, what an upside down world we have had. As our friend C.B. Bowman said, we didn't have one crisis last year. We had 5. We had the virus, economic fragility, social injustice coming to the fore, climate change in the form of massive fires, and I think brought our attention to that. And we had a very contentious election. So goodbye 2020. But Chester, my belief is we can't let something as powerful as what happened to us go without thinking about it. So last year I started doing these videos, and I know you were a fan of them, and I started collecting the thoughts behind them and reworked them into a little book. And they deal with, the book, as I say, starts in a place of darkness at the beginning when they're locked down, but it ends in a time of hope. Where we are now, we're not out of the pandemic yet, but we can see the end. We, you know, those of us who are vaccinated, it's a more normal world. But we cannot let a good crisis go to waste. And so these are the lessons that I have that mean something to me, and I wanted to share them with the world.
So let me ask you, John. You know, you're a leadership coach, and you speak to people all around the world. Why is the characteristic of grace so important in leadership, especially today?
Well, I think grace is that it's a gift, as you well know. It's given to us without strings attached. But I like to think of grace as a facilitator, as an enabler. And while some of us may think of grace as, you know, tied to a faith-based tradition, and it is, it's actually inherent in every faith, but it's not exclusively religious. It's probably, we're wired into our DNA, i.e. care for one another. If we think of our ancestors, we're tribal, family, things like that. So grace is that facilitator. It's that ability to reach out and connect with someone. And the story I always tell, because a role model for me is Father Greg Boyle, who founded Homeboy Industries in Southern California, in Los Angeles. It's the largest gang intervention program in the world. And it's about giving ex-gang members jobs. And, Father Boyle talks about, or Father G as he's called, or sometimes is G, it's about connecting with others. And he's also a brilliant writer. And he has a book called Barking to the Choir. And the subtitle is about radical kinship. That's what grace facilitates. Grace is that ability to reach out and touch someone. And Chester, it's like the word. This is inherent in what you do. That your daily moments of gratitude, all those things, and you always encourage us. Text somebody, call them, whatever. Don't wait. Grace is that enabler, and that's why I wanted to do it. And when we talk about in a more formal workplace, it's leaders who see things and want to make things happen. It's about creating community. It's about creating service. How can I be a better colleague for my folks? What can I do to be better? And that's why I think grace is so important. So.
It is interesting. Leadership really has evolved, particularly through the pandemic, hasn't it, on the softer side of business. Really connecting with people. By the way, Christine from Canada reminds me that it's Canada Day today. I was born in Edmonton, grew up in Vancouver. I can't believe that I didn't open the show with Happy Canada Day. Thank you for the reminder, Christine. I'm living in the States now, so Canada Day, 4th of July, they come bang, bang. What I really love about the community that we've got here is that they come from all over the world. It's really interesting. Samantha is tuning in from the UAE, and we're doing a bunch of work in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And we've got a wonderful, let's see, I'm going to find him here really quick. Iftka Ahmed. I'm going to go with Ahmed. Yeah, from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I'm going to head there at the end of November as the world is opening up. As you mentioned, John, you get vaccinated and the world starts to come back to be a little more normal. You and I, before the show, I was talking about the fact that 2 nights ago, I went and saw Bruce Springsteen on Broadway. And it brings me to this idea that you've started to incorporate a lot of music into your work. By the way, Marcia from Germany, my condolences losing to England 2-0. I know the Euros are on there. So sorry about that. There is therapy available for the German fans. Tell me a little bit about why you decided to incorporate music into the things that you're doing.
Well, music is a newly discovered passion. In other words, I played as a child, but wasn't very good at it. And I dabbled a little bit as an adult, but lay dormant. And then on my 60, after turning 60, at the encouragement of a friend who did the same, went back to music, and I play piano, and I've been playing in theory every day since. And of course, vacations or illness and other things that don't. And I decided to, a pandemic forced us inside, internally. And I looked within it and I said, I've got to find a way to interject music into what I do. And I have this little presentation, I call it a reflective recital. And it's about the themes of Grace Notes, but I play some themes and music along the way as tone setters, as I pose a question and then I play a tune and you answer those questions. So it's a moment of reflection, and it's kind of enforces the idea of let's not let our lessons of the past year go without reflection. And so if I accompany it with, makes it more palatable, more enjoyable, and emotionally evocative. And you well know, you just went to the Springsteen concert on Broadway. Music evokes emotions within us. It touches us. We hear a song, and if it's from our youth or wherever, we know the moment we hear it where we were, what it means to us. And so music has that gift to us. And sort of coincidentally, Grace Notes, it's a term in music, which is a kind of flourish. And so it's all tied up together. But the idea of the music, coupled with my photography, I put in the book as well, it's rediscovering my passions, I think, and putting them in my medium, which is writing about leadership. So I'm trying to do something new and different, and we'll see what the market says, Chester.
Yeah. I love that you're engaging all the senses, right? Your photography, your voice, the music. Really interesting. Put a thing in the comment. What music brings back your favorite memory? To me, it is fascinating that a song will come on and it will take you to a specific place and time, won't it?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, because I'm an old guy, a Beatles song will do that. I'll be 14 years old or 15 when I hear that. Or maybe something by Gershwin, Rhapsody in Blue. I always remember where I was the first time I heard that. And so many other things. And for me, it's very personal. My grandmother played piano in her church and taught music. She was a school teacher who taught music, and so she played just beautifully. So I remember always piano in the background. Here's something that came back to me later. She and my grandfather had a great marriage. And every day, my grandfather would go to work, my grandmother would play a song, and he would sing along. He loved to sing. And so what a great energizing way to begin the day, that as a couple, my grandmother would play and he would sing and send him off to work. So what a great rejuvenating way to start the day. So
yeah. Debbie mentions that human beings are vibrational beings after all. How do you respond to that, being a vibrational being? And Vixen, welcome from Zambia. I'm delighted you're tuning in. What does that mean to you when she says we are vibrational beings? Does that resonate?
Does a vibration resonate? Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I hadn't. Yes, actually, if you think about the physiology of music, it actually can raise. If an evocative tune will raise the hair on your skin, or you'll feel chills about it, or get emotional. And we are 98% water or something like that. And so water has that effect of radiating sound too. So and then the vibration in a larger sense is that we absorb and we throw it out. I don't know if that's exactly a physics equation there, but we vibrate with ideas. And then, and I watch you speak, Chester, and you just, resonate with energy. That's vibration. That's cool. So.
Yeah. I want to get really practical for our listeners and our viewers here. You talk about the three in your introduction. It was really fun. The three most doable habits for Monday morning. So why don't you share those with us? What are the three doable habits? And Sue Falcone, our good friend, always wearing great hats. Welcome to the show, Sue.
Welcome, Sue. So lovely. The three doable habits are be seen, be heard, be there. So let me define it. Be seen is leaders need to be, their people need to see them. And our good friend Ron Carucci, it's an eloquent writer, talks about presence. And it's a topic I write about too. And he said, presence is what is felt, and as Maya Angelou said, we may forget the words, but we remember how people made us feel. So we have to be seen. And in our virtual environment, we have to reach out and connect with people and make sure. Second thing is be heard, and get, from a leadership standpoint, keep people in the loop, keep them informed, close the loop, all that. But the other side of listening is, the other side of speaking is, of course, listening. So pay attention. And very importantly, and I know you've talked about this, Chester, it's pay attention to what you don't hear. Okay. If you say, hey, Chester, how are things going? And you go, well, they're okay. Well, I know in an instant something's wrong. And so I'm going to pay attention to what's going on. You want to talk about it, Chester? Or you're talking to your team and you say, how are we doing? And people have their heads down or going, we're going through. So you're not getting the vibration, and vibration right there. You're not getting the energy. You're not getting the enthusiasm. So something is off. That gets us to our last step, which is be there. That's the all-encompassing thing, Chester. It's do what you have to do to energize, to enrich the organization. And so often, this is, you teach this also, don't wait to be asked. As a leader, leaders should be interveners to change things better. I don't mean to intervene in people's lives without permission, but see something, make something happen. And that's what it means to, and the other part of be there is, metaphorically speaking, if you're going to ask people to work on weekends, you work weekends. So we're all in this together. The leader, I believe, leads from the front. So be there.
Excellent. John, where can people find more about your work? What that we've got your website, John Baldoni. Where else would people go to find your books and learn more about your work?
Well, I have something different. Something also, the johnbaldoni.com is a great place. I also have John Baldoni blog where I collect certain things, but I have something that was inspired by our friend Marshall Goldsmith. So I stole this idea from him. He did it years ago, and now he's taken it to the next generation. I call it the John Baldoni Library. Pretty clever, huh, Chester? It's a collection of some 200 articles I've done for Harvard Business Review and about 150 coaching videos. So I put them in a separate section. I call it nuts and bolts management. And I've been sharing them with clients, but it's the kind of thing that if you need how conflict management or issues and stuff, it's sort of a basic little repertoire of ideas. And so I'm happy to have that. And that's library.johnbaldoniblog.com. Or if you just go to my johnbaldoni.com, all the links are there. So.
Excellent. We always love to give a shout out to our sponsor, Methods Of. And if you're looking to, enhance your leadership and you want some online courses, there's a great place where you can go for that. It's Methods Of. So it's really interesting if we can pull down Debbie there for just a second, Christy, so we can see it's at methodsof.com. When you check out, because you've been listening to our show, if you just put in Gratitude 2021, you get a 50% discount on all the courses there. There are courses by actually, and John Baldoni, you've got a course that's going to be up and running here in a month or so. There's Marshall Goldsmith, there's Martin Lindstrom. I've got a course there on teamwork, and you're going to have one there as well, John. So take a screenshot there, and as you check out, use Gratitude 2021 and get a 50% discount. So John, we got a lot of people here from around the world. Nadine from Dubai, and we've got Marcia from Germany, Rishad from Saudi Arabia, and Tim Ingram. And do you find that when you apply grace, are there differences? Are there cultural differences as you travel, say from the Middle East to Europe to North America to South America? Have you noticed that there are different ways to give grace?
That's a good question. And I think that certainly, and that's why I get back to grace as a concept. It's inherent in every faith. Islam, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, it's just there. And it's the idea, any place which is communal and that sharing. And so it's a universal practice. Is it different in different cultures? Certainly it is. I think Americans are a little more extroverted toward one another in certain ways. There are, but what matters is that human connection, and that supersedes everything. And so maybe the way we approach it, Chester, you and I are kind of out there extroverts, but others, we have to go at it in different ways. But the idea of connectedness, intended acts of kindness, that's universal. And I think it's something that we all have that gift of, and it gets to your theme of gratitude. And I think grace enables us to look inward and have self-gratitude. And self-gratitude is not what I would say, pat oneself on the back because I'm so cool, but understand you have something to give. And sometimes we get down on ourselves, or maybe we're going in hard times and things like, what can I give someone else? You can always give your time. And that may be the most precious gift of all. And I think grace enables us to do that.
Yeah. Talk to me a little bit about some of your personal practices. You said those random acts of grace. Well, what are some of the things that you incorporate into your everyday routine that allows you to give and receive grace?
Well, I practice piano. And when I sit at piano, I don't know that that's an act of grace per se, but it narrows my focus. I think a lot when I play, which is probably not the best thing to do, but at least for me, it is. And it is what it is. I exercise regularly, so I think on that. I have a little mantra, and I called Focus on Better. And I put it in Grace, my first book on Grace. Grace, a better means blanking out on my own title. So help me here. But in the first Grace book, yeah, I got it. Grace, a leader's guide to a better us. And our friend Alan Mulally, who endorsed that and is interviewed, says, I love that title. So anyway, so it's called Focus on Better. So what does that mean? Choose something that you want to improve, to be a better colleague, a better spouse, a better parent, a better grandparent, whatever it is, and work on that. And inherent in that, maybe it's just me, Chester, it's inherent in that Focus on Better is a sense of humility and that I will screw up, okay? But I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on doing it. So focus on better. However you define better, what are the action steps you will take? And I think doing something like that, as opposed to a rote system of New Year's resolutions, focusing on the concept of better, a better listener, a better friend, all of these things will help you, become a better person, but someone people want to be around.
Yeah. It's interesting. I loved your book and still do, Grace. It's such a wonderful concept. I love that in the prologue you talked about, you actually use Grace as an acronym, that G is for generosity, R is for respect, A is for action, C is for compassion, and E is for energy. How does Grace bring you energy, John? That was an interesting one at the end.
Well, it's actually, I had to do something with that E. No, because I think the generosity, respect, and compassion are what we would expect of Grace. And the A is the actions that leaders act for the benefit of the team and the organization. They also have to energize. And, how do we find our energy? That's so important, in your coaching work, your speaking work. For me, I always ask my clients, where do you find your energy? And as a leader, you have to find your own sources of energy, which you ask me what my practices are. They come from that too. But also, and then how do I transmit that energy outward to the organization? Because leaders have to have a sense of enthusiasm for what it is they do. That doesn't mean they all have to be, out there all the time, but they have to have this passion and conviction if they want people to follow their lead. And they have to demonstrate energy. And so that's why I focused on that as a form of connecting with others. So.
Excellent. I'm going to give our lovely and talented producer, Christy Lawrence, a little heads up here. But you mentioned Alan Mulally, and he's been a good friend to all of us. Our show's based on leading with gratitude. And our wonderful publisher, Harper Business, created a great little commercial for us. Yeah, Alan Mulally said, I love this book. And then a not so subtle call to action where he just says, hey, buy me, buy me, buy me. So available at fine bookstores everywhere. So John, talk to me about your LinkedIn live show. We do ours at 1:00. Yours is at 2:00. You've had some fabulous guests on your show. Talk to me about some of the latest guests you've had that have had a big impact on you.
Well, thanks to you, the last show I did with Scott O'Neill, who is the I don't know his official title, but he CEO of the entertainment company, which owns the Flyers and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Actually, I'm going to jump in on there, John. It's actually the New Jersey Devils. That's my team. Our arch enemy is the Philadelphia Flyers. It's the Devils and the Sixers. But I've been a big fan.
You can just end the show right now.
I'm sorry. So tell me about your interaction with Scott O'Neill, because I know he was on your show.
I love his book, Where Your Feet Are. And because, he said he wrote the book about adversity he was facing and conflicts and things. And I said, Scott, most CEOs, they write about their triumphs. What do you write about your problems? And he started laughing, but it's a wonderful opportunity to have an executive who's very successful share his personal story, not to pat himself on the back, but to say, hey, we're all human. and so that's a wonderful guest. And I really found that a rich experience. You've been on, Adrian's been on, Dory Clark was on, our friend Tasha Urich, she was just wonderful. Her book into insight. And we've had a lot of, people that just are making a positive difference in different ways and connecting. I've had a couple of people from Special Forces, both one Royal Marine as well as a Navy SEAL, both talked about how resilience can be learned and practiced. And that's very important in our times now, especially as we're coming out of the pandemic. So had Sharon Melnick talk also about resilience, and our friend Sally Helgeson, talked. She's the premier spokes example and exemplar of women in leadership. Our good friend Jennifer McCollum, who runs CEO of Linkage, was on there, and Fiona McCauley and her work. So
an all-star cast,
yeah. So I've tried to have a good balance of people from different walks of life, both women and men. My good friend Elena Love was my very first guest, and this afternoon, I'm going to do my 100th show.
Hey, so congratulations! That's great.
It'll be, it's a joy, and it's a great opportunity to talk to thought leaders and doers who are making a positive difference, but we focus a little bit on the grace, the special parts of it, and that's why Scott was such a great guest. So.
We're getting to the end of the show here, and I really wanted to ask you about grace. Adrian Gostick, who you know really well, my co-author, we've been doing a lot of research around anxiety in the workplace. Talk to me a little bit about how when you incorporate grace into your leadership style, when you bring grace into your life, how that can be a calming influence on the rising anxiety that we're seeing everywhere in the workplace.
Well, I think grace is also an acknowledgement of something beyond us. Some would attribute it to a higher power. Others, it's the space around us, the connectedness we feel with us. So grace affirms that we're not in this alone. And you guys are the experts in this, but one of the reasons anxiety is rising is because people feel isolated. Grace is an antidote to that because it brings us together. And so an acknowledgement of grace can neutralize it in a way, not neutralize it, but ameliorate the feelings of loneliness that people, and that I'm all in this together. I'm all by myself. None of us are. And that's what, I like this idea of the connectedness and how we're all part of the human family. And we all, in so many ways, have something to offer one another.
I love that concept, John, that you're not alone. I think that's such an important message, that you give other people grace, as you've outlined so beautifully in your books. Give yourself a little grace as well, right?
And there's one other concept, and it's the concept of mercy. You just to give somebody a break. I'm the world's worst example of this because I can lose my cool over a customer service transaction, and I'll go, "Why did I do? How stupid is that?"
Right.
And so, but let things roll off your back. Turn the other cheek, if you will. People are gonna, they're gonna insult you. They'll throw stones at you and things like that. But rise above it. That's what good leaders do. They rise above it, and they act. They set an example, and they act for the benefit of others. And they haven't got time for petty, bickering and that kind of stuff. So let it go.
Great advice. Hey, we're in our last 2 minutes here. So if there's one thing you want people to remember from the show today, that one important takeaway, what would that be?
Believe in yourself and be forgiving of others as you forgive yourself.
I love that. And we always get all our guests, where did you find your gratitude today, John?
I find my gratitude from being able to express myself. I have a piano. I have a great spouse. I have a great family. I have so much to be grateful for. And I can't count my blessings because there's too many of them.
That's great. Well, listen, Adrian and I have just recently published our new book, Anxiety at Work. And we would encourage you, if you're suffering from a lack of grace for yourself or in the workplace, go ahead and take a look at it. Our wonderful publishers at Harper Business have put together this great little clip for us. So, Christy, if you want to throw the I love that soulful beat at the end. Well, again, just a shout out to our sponsors, Methods Of. If you're looking to improve your leadership skills, go ahead and then as you check out, put in Gratitude 2021 at checkout. You'll get a 50% discount. That's at methodsof.com. Hey, John, I knew it would be a lot of fun. It's always a great time to spend with you. Thank you for your work in grace. Thank you for, just being who you are and spreading that goodness around. Good luck on your 100th show at 1:00. Everybody, you should tune in. It'll be well worth your time. Yeah. Hey, listen, we always say, give us 30 minutes. We'll give you great, information, inspiration, and a roadmap to a life of gratitude at work and at home. My mantra every day is be kind, be grateful, be of service. I hope it is for you too. Take care, and we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Shout out to Christy and the Ghost in the Machine there in Atlanta, Georgia. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Take us out, Christy.